We want to welcome back to the roundtable, also to Good Morning Enid, Demetrius Office. Demetrius, good to see you again, young man.
Good to see you,
Thank you for your involvement in the community.
Morning.
And welcome back to the studio. And welcome to the roundtable.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
You bet.
What brought you to Enid, Demetrius? What's your background?
Well, the United States Air Force brought me to Enid in 2008, December 2008. I arrived here in Enid, and I was a hospital administrator at Vance Air Force Base, and I served as a wing commander exec at Vance Air Force Base. And so God gave me the calling, and he brought me here, and then now I'm rooted in the community.
Oh, we're excited.
I'm happy to be here.
Well, Demetrius, every time I look up, you're involved in some organization, you're volunteering, but you have a professional life as well, you have a family life as well. Tell us about your current work, because I know you're all about personal development, you're all about personal growth and stuff, so just kind of give us a commercial, if you will, of what you're involved in professionally.
Well, thanks for asking this, Steve. That's a really good question. In 2015, I had separated from active duty in 2014, December 2014, and in 2015, April, actually, I launched a company called Macarius Developments, and we are a consulting firm that focuses on enhancing the cultural aspect of business. So we want to make sure that we build a team-centric organization that can thrive in any kind of conditions, and it's just really bridging that gap between the employer and the employee to make sure we can streamline a lot of our processes. So.
Very good.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm sure with your military history, you know, you
Oh,
have all kinds of leadership building activities.
Absolutely. When on active duty, I was a data quality manager, and I reported all kind of human performance statistics up to headquarters Air Force, and it's just a segue to that.
But now you're with Salvation Army. You're involved. How did you get involved there, and what are you doing?
Oh, that was a wonderful experience. A good buddy of mine is Keegan Toohey, who works at NBC Bank. He invited me to a Beyond the Bell Ringing to see exactly what the Salvation Army was all about. And his father, Kevin Toohey, was actually our board president at the time. And I said, he's a good friend of mine. He asked me to go, and I'll go just because he asked me to go. And little did I know they had roped me in there.
It's amazing how that works.
It is.
You thought you had both eyes open when you went in, right?
Absolutely. I seen a lot of the programs that we were involved in, and I just had the notion that we just did the bell ringing at the holiday seasons and the thrift store and some other programs. But little did I know we had a very prominent disaster team that gears up and goes to support any kind of local community efforts. We have different programs to eradicate poverty, and I was just blown away at what the Salvation Army was involved in here in Enid, Oklahoma.
Yeah, now, you serve on the board, correct?
I do.
Your role?
I've been on the board for 2 years now, and I joined 2 years ago, and next thing you know, 2 years later, I was the chairman of the Salvation Army. I said, how did I get here?
Demetrius, this really isn't on our question list, if you will, but my involvement in Salvation Army and other communities was always around the holiday. My wife and I would show up and we'd ring a bell.
Yes.
We did that for a number of years and enjoyed that. And yet, you're right, people are aware of the thrift shop or the store, if you will. But what is one event that takes place in Enid, or what need is met in Enid that people may not know about?
That's a really good question.
I'm sure there's a laundry list, but pick one with the time that we have this morning.
You know, that's very special to me.
Angel Tree, we know. People are familiar with Angel Tree. I'm sorry, help.
We are actually in the process of rebranding one of our programs, Bridges Out of Poverty, and we're rebranding that to Revision Enid. And I am excited about this program just because we're putting a face and a purpose and a cause to it and a why. And that program is geared to really eradicate poverty and bring some of those other programs together to life and to, you know, let the community know exactly how much we have to support them. I don't believe people realize, but 82 cents on a dollar that's donated to our organization actually stays in this community, which is powerful for me in my decision to give it all I got in this community. So.
And I know in Jennifer case too at Loaves and Fishes, when people give money, they want to make sure that of that dollar, at least 80-90% goes to why they're giving and not to something else. Yes. Well, we started the show this morning with Rylan helping us out with the donuts. And the National Donut Day occurs on the first Friday of June. And bear with me as I read this. This year marks the 100 years since the beginning of the Donut Lassies, if you will. On Friday, June 2nd, shops around the country will participate in the day by giving away free donuts and supporting the Salvation Army. That's all the reason for having Demetrius here today to share really about the Donut Day. So what events will take place on Friday, June 2nd?
On June 2nd, tomorrow, we are firing up our canteen. And anytime we get to fire up our canteen, it's really exciting for me because we get to go on there and just welcome the community in. And anytime people see that shield, it just brings a sense of comfort to them. And so we're going to be on a courthouse lawn tomorrow between the hours of 11 and 1. And anybody that walks, or you might see me, chasing you down just to give you a free donut and coffee, just to say thank you and just to let you know that we're here to support you in every endeavor that we can.
And doing some of the research on Donut Day, I realized back during World War I that many of the women would go to Europe and provided donuts because it was a sense of home that they were bringing home for these folks, which the guys were called doughboys when they came home, made that connection of donuts. And then, of course, during the Depression, Salvation Army had its role as well, feeding people donuts and all. So
I think it's pretty amazing that as we celebrate this 100-year tradition, we realize that those ladies actually went into battle, into war,
trenches.
and they really was, those guys in the Civil War, they experienced 36 days of rain, depression, all kinds of various conditions, and just the smell of donuts just brought them closer to home.
Well, it works for me. How about you, Jennifer?
Absolutely.
I come to life when I smell donuts.
But you're going into the trenches every day when you're trying to fight poverty. That Ruby Payne Bridges Out of Poverty is an amazing program.
Absolutely.
And so how can people join you, and how can they help with the Salvation Army?
I'm not a hard guy to find. I think I've made that pretty clear, here in Enid. But a great way to find us, we have a fantastic staff, a fantastic team. You can call the number 580. That number will probably be on the screen here pretty soon. But 580-237-1910 is a great way to call and say, how can I get involved into the mission of the Salvation Army? And I can tell you, it changed my life, and they got me for life.
Great.
Now, you had a military escort to the studio this morning. Had the major bring you in. Tell us about the major. I think he's leaving the Enid community.
Don't get me too riled up here. Major Ernie Hole and Debbie Hole have been, so close to me, and they have done so much for this community. They're New Yorkers. You can hear them in their twang and their accent. You hear them coming a mile away. And we spend quite a bit of time on disasters and doing a lot of functions around town. And they're going to be leaving here in a few weeks to take up command in New Orleans. And so they're going to go to a bigger command, a bigger responsibility. Sure. I think it's very fitting for them because of the work that they have accomplished here and how they rebuilt our financial status here in Enid, Oklahoma, and really put us out there. So they will be departing. But I told them to put a cot in the house in New Orleans because I will be coming down there with them.
Get some gumbo while you're there.
Oh, yeah. Mardi Gras, we're going to be dancing and doing a whole lot of things.
Well, towards the end of the show, we'll see if we can get Rylan and the major to come in and join us here on the set as we close out the show.
I think it's very fitting.
See only if they bring the donuts, right?